Welcome to Crypto Daily. My name is Dustin Knaus, and be sure to follow our show wherever you listen to podcasts. And please, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. When you think of the word Metaverse, you likely think of gaming. However, the Metaverse will likely help the real world in incredibly different ways than you might think, like changing our healthcare system entirely. For this episode, I wanted to take the time to focus on an interesting way that the world of blockchain can have a big impact on our day-to-day lives. One example already underway for the Metaverse is in our education and training systems for healthcare workers. Certainly, the Metaverse won't replace hands-on training of things like surgery anytime soon. However, it certainly could replace how we teach in the classroom in the next couple of years. Instead of students learning through charts, graphs, or even images, they could be placed into simulated experiences, get realistic training and views on illnesses or problems up close and more interactive. Another way that we could expect to see the Metaverse change our healthcare system is through the use of a digital twin. Essentially, doctors would be able to take a series of tests, blood tests, MRIs, and so on, to essentially recreate your body. From there, they would be able to run a series of tests using AI to see what medications and treatments would work best for you, based on you to avoid complications. And this could possibly happen in a matter of minutes after the data is collected. In addition to these, AR surgeries could really improve the safety and efficacy of a surgery. Sometimes, when a doctor's working, they may have to improvise a little during a procedure, or work in a microscopic area where the naked eye just can't see. Usually, this requires a bit of skill and, honestly, some luck mixed together. Or the doctor has to look up at a screen instead of where they're actually working. With AR glasses, a doctor could have a better view of where they're working, be able to see closer and smaller areas, and really focus on the patient during surgery, increasing precision and the success rate. Another way that we can change for the better is through the blockchain. As you may know, blockchain technology is built on the exchange of information and transactions. Having a secure blockchain designed for medical records, it could make our healthcare system easier to access necessary records. Right now, records are saved on secure servers at a healthcare facility. In order to get that information over to a healthcare provider, it has to be sent, perhaps digitally, but sometimes not. For example, my son has to get an MRI every 6 months, and I have to take that to a neurosurgeon to review. To do this, I have to pick up a disc and bring it to the neurosurgeon. A disc, okay? It's 2022, and I'm still bringing discs to a doctor's office? I even had to do this with my ENT, so I know that it's a common thing for some reason. Well, by putting it on the blockchain, it could make it easier to access and much faster. No one would have to send anything over anymore. Honestly, even doing so digitally can take several days. In addition to that, we can include new types of data more easily, like 3D images of your heart where the doctor can look into the valves. All you'd have to do is give a healthcare provider consent to access your records on the secure blockchain, and then they have everything they need at their fingertips. Now, this could be a huge game changer in the ER world, especially if someone is taken to the hospital unconscious and unable to say what medications they've been taking or any prior procedures. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is that there is the gamification aspect of the medical metaverse. Gaming is often thought about as something that's kind of childish, but the truth is, playing games and doing things in a low-stress environment is a great way to make advancements. If a doctor can start experimenting with new world procedures with a digital simulation of a real world problem, well, that removes any amount of risk. They can essentially play with problems like removing cysts or cancers without fear of losing a patient or causing things to get worse. Plus, it's possible for medical students to no longer have to practice things like performing a biopsy on a patient. They'll get hands-on training in a simulator before touching a real person. And I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty great to me. So when you think about Metaverse in the future, don't just think about how you can see a couch in your home or how Snoop Dogg is buying up virtual land or people stumbling around their apartments with headsets on. Know that there's a lot more positive things happening from it that will help our real world. Let me know what you thought about this longer episode on one topic by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or a comment on YouTube. I genuinely want to know your thoughts. Be sure to follow our show wherever you get your podcasts. Also, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a comment on YouTube. It really does help the show. I'm Dustin Knaus, and thank you for joining me today.